Our final speaker for the afternoon is Dr. Peter Mason. Now, I've had many opportunities to introduce him over the years, and as time has gone on, I've become more polite, out of respect for him. Dr. Christensen spoke about the Star Wars characters, and I think if we had a Star Wars character for Peter Mason amongst the ADHD specialists, it'd be Yoda. He's our local expert, and he's been doing it longer than any of us. He's got about over 1,000 patients on his caseload, so hopefully he'll share his expertise with us today. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that, Kuban. I wish I could say the same for you, but the chair's been dreadful today. Do you know, I'm really pleased that there are so many people still here and still awake, and I think that really reflects the quality of the presentations that we've had today. And I think things have gone really, really smoothly. And I think, is it Colin who's been mainly responsible for that? It's been outstanding, really, really good. So, it's going to go downhill now. I've chosen to talk about drug use and ADHD. A little bit about myself. How did I get involved in ADHD? Something I've been interested in for many, many years, but like so many of provider trusts, we are told by our managers we don't do ADHD. You focus on your schizophrenia and your manic depression. If you get a referral for ADHD, you send it back and you say we're not commissioned. So, one of the themes of this is how you'll notice that I don't listen to my bosses. And in 2006, I had a referral of a 35-year-old man. He was a scaffolder, and as you can see, not a very good scaffolder. It isn't a cartoon of him, obviously, but he did fall off his scaffolding, dislocated his shoulder, on his way to hospital, got distracted, never made it to hospital. He recognised that he had symptoms very similar to his 11-year-old son who had ADHD. And to make my job even easier, he'd actually tried his son's methylphenidate. So not only did he come with a diagnosis, he came with the treatment that he needed. The GP asked me to see him. Rather than say no, as my managers wanted me to, I said, yeah, I'll see him, let's have a look, because I was interested. And this guy did so well. And overnight, I became the Northwest expert in adult ADHD. Basically, I'm a fraud. The service started quite rapidly. So I was working as a general adult psychiatrist. I was able to put aside a session a week to do ADHD, and I thought that really I ought to see whether I'm doing a good job. Am I doing it properly? When I set up the service, we had the British Association of Psychopharmacology guidelines. We didn't have NICE guidelines, and I was rather pleased when 2009 came along and the NICE guidelines were published that I was doing it about right. But I wanted to see whether what I was doing was effective. I wanted to be able to show the commissioners that were commissioning the service that they were spending their money wisely. And so I did an audit. Of the 197 referrals that we'd had in that period, I say I was on my own, 115 of them were assessed, 107 got a diagnosis of ADHD. What was interesting in the group, and this got a little bit more interesting later on, was how many of them were substance misusers. Now, when I talk about substance misuse, SUD means substance use disorder. We're talking about people who were really hammering the cannabis, they were using cocaine, they were drinking alcohol to excess, and a number of them were methadone or heroin addicts. I didn't think too much of that at the time because my clinical work was in Birkenhead, and it was quite a rare event that I had a referral of somebody with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder that wasn't misusing substances, so I guess I didn't really notice this at the time. Of those people, let me just go back again, of the 107 diagnosed with ADHD, they were all offered treatment. Not all of them wanted treatment. And of the 56 that I was able to follow up over the 6 months, it was really easy to demonstrate an improvement in symptoms and functioning. Now, all I could offer these patients was drug treatment. There was nothing else commissioned, so they either got methylphenidate or atomoxetine. And no surprises that they got quite a bit better in terms of their symptoms and functioning. The improvement was statistically significant. I was really pleased when I noticed that there was quite a reduction in risk to others. And then I was blown away when I saw the reduction in substance misuse. This wasn't something I'd planned for. I think I'd given up a long time ago as a psychiatrist, warning people about the problems with substance misuse, because you just learn that you don't get listened to. So I hadn't particularly lectured these people about reducing their substance misuse. So of the 56 I was able to follow up, this is just to give it in a little bit more detail, 26 of those had significant problems with substance misuse. And at the end of the 6 months, 12, so nearly half of them, had reduced their substance misuse to 0. One of them was stimulant dependent, 2 of them were stimulant and cannabis dependent. So we're not saying, you know, small problems here. We are talking about people that needed these substances every day. They were quite chaotic as well. What really surprised me was a lot of them had given up smoking. They'd given up caffeine. So I got really quite excited about this. So I looked into it. Oh, sorry, a very important point. Nobody got worse as far as their substance misuse was concerned. And that's a really important thing to focus on. One of the problems with Ritalin is the sort of street value that it's got, and people misusing it, getting into stimulants. There's all those sort of myths.